Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. It is now time for the deep dive, and we're going to look at great comebacks. It was brilliant to see Buddy Franklin return after so long out only last week. So we're going to look at some of the great comebacks and the impacts that were made on those nights. So Darren Buick, for me, he was a wonderful teammate, one of the most skillful players I ever played with, and that was him doing his ACL in 1995. It was just devastation. And it was, back then it was hard to know how players had come back from that. But this was his first game back, round 7, Bill. Do you remember this one, the centenary game?
100-year celebration.
100-year celebration of the game. And Darren Buick, this was phenomenal. I remember him. He kicked eight. He kicked 8 on this night. This was one of the goals of the year that Darren Buick kicked. So we're going to look at some famous ones across this panel, TJ. And you're involved in one of the most famous ones of all.
Well, are you talking about Jason McCartney?
Yes.
Well, this was Jason McCartney at the then whatever stadium it was, and it's completely irrelevant because this was Jason McCartney's platform this particular night, and it was his comeback match after suffering the horrific injuries, burns from the Bali bombings, and everyone just desperately wanted to see Jason McCartney have an impact, and indeed he did with shots like that. And you can see the players just came from everywhere. The stadium was full. It started off as a tribute to the victims of the Bali bombings, but as I said, it was all about Jason McCartney this particular night, and then it was capped off with something most unexpected, and that was his retirement from the game, which he announced on the field. So there goes Jason McCartney leaving the ground for the last time, but certainly leaving an indelible impression on all of us.
It was a great night. Another kangaroo, very recent, was Matt Jack Dool. Had a lot of injuries, as we know, and was out of football for a long, long time. And this is only last year that he comes back to play football. It was great to see him do this. It was just uplifting for everybody in the football community. And it was a good story. I think everybody needed at the time to see Matt Jack Dool playing footy again. And he's obviously at the Demons, and we wish him well.
Yes, indeed, Nate. Well done there. And what about Plugger? He retired in 2000 and returned in 2002. Now, this is him playing for Sydney and kicking some goals here. This did come back. He did struggle, didn't he?
Yeah, 3 goals.
Three goals.
He copped a bad corking his first game back. Which,
wearing number 46 because Ben Matthews wanted number 4 and he wanted to keep number 4. But look at this. I haven't seen this vision. Actually running out with Port Melbourne down there in the Borough and playing with Port Melbourne. That's good vision, that. I had not seen that.
Was that their seconds? Was that their seconds, was it? Or what was he doing playing for Port?
They had an arrangement to use the Port team as their affiliate in the VFL.
Because they've had such a strong link, haven't they?
To the region, yeah.
Patrick Dangerfield, we thought his season was done. If we go back to round 17, 2017, limped off, looked like a serious knee injury for the reigning Brownlow medalist. So he's limped off in this game. What a rivalry it is between Hawthorn and the Cats. Hope for a good one tomorrow. Hands up. He's off in the first quarter. Bill, miracle. He's back. Look at him. Came back in one of the most unbelievable individual performances playing forward. On this day, he kicked 5 goals, 6, and turned the table.
I love his theatre.
When we all thought he was done. I think I might have said something on it on the Sunday Footy Show the following week, and he did. He wasn't too happy about that. But
I love his theatre. Oregon is great. I love the show he puts
on. The Danger Show, yeah. It's good for footy.
In 2017, Lotto, Jared Ruffard made a comeback after a year off with cancer. It was one of the more extraordinary comebacks. He was made Hawthorn captain in the particular year in question. Managed to get through the entire season of matches under all those circumstances, but given he'd had the history of cancer even before missing the 2016 season, it was one of the truly great football comebacks.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, Damo. For what Jared did as captain, coming back and returning to the club. And I'll never forget a time where I was called by Adam Ramanuska's wife to go to his place, and Dr. Bruce Reid was there. I walked in and Bruce Reid told us all, we're all in tears, saying in 2003 that Adam's been diagnosed with cancer. A trainer found a lump in his neck, and that was cancerous, and it returned once or twice, and this was 2007. Seeing Rama kick his first goal after a 4-year battle with cancer was a really emotional time for everyone involved at the club, and one of the most inspirational things I've seen. His fight back, he'd never got full movement back in his shoulder, but yet he returned back to AFL football, which was amazing. And we're finishing with you, TJ.
Yes. Well, this is Peter Hudson, and I mean, when you talk about great full forwards, obviously you have to talk about Peter Hudson. When you talk about Peter Hudson, you've got to talk about the comeback. Now, this was the actual knee injury in 1972. He kicked 8 goals to half-time at Glenferrie Oval against Melbourne, and then you thought, well, back then you might not actually see him ever again, but he did come back in round 21 of 1973. It's the only game he played that year. It was out at Waverley. And he actually caught a chopper from Tasmania. So I think he might have flown from Tasmania and then got the chopper from the airport. And immediately after this match, he went back to Tasmania. I mean, he was a freak when it comes to full forwards, just so skillful. But then, of course, actually came back and kicked another 150 goals. It was quite extraordinary. I mean, in the overall scheme of things with comebacks, that Peter Hudson should be able to achieve what he achieved.
And was going to break the record and kicked into the man the mark.
Well, he was also unconscious almost, I think.
Yeah.
He'd received a heavy knock, and so he shares it with Bob Pratt.
Yeah, 150.
Yeah, that's right. He shares it with Bob Pratt.
Come on, Hutto kicked that goal. And he kicked 1,000 over in Tassie. He's a superstar.
And they've just unveiled a trophy, a statue to him down there too as well in Tasmania.
Great guy.
Yep. Lordo, great stuff.
Well done, Lordo.
Well done, mate.